following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
ABC Sports presents live in its 30th anniversary season the Professional Bowlers Tour, today from Parma Heights, Ohio. It's the Cleveland Open. In our first match, Dave Ferraro goes for his second consecutive win. His opponent making his first career appearance, Mark Turney. That winner will face 9-time champion Ballard Jr. In our semifinal game, we'll see Steve Cook. And our tournament leader is going for his 20th career win, Mike Aulby. That's our outstanding field of finalists for this afternoon's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. The professional bowlers have returned to America's North Shore, to the sprawling city on Lake Erie, Cleveland, Ohio. They've returned for bowling's Cleveland Open. Cleveland is major league in every way, in sports and business, in medicine, in culture, and yes, in the arts. Hello again. I'm Chris Schenkel. I'm delighted to be standing here at the entrance to the fabulous Cleveland Museum of Art, with treasures galore inside, but none more important than the exhibition taking place now, the works of Pablo Picasso. Picasso, born in 1881, lived until 1973, producing major works, whether it was painting, drawing, constructing, sculpting, as you will see. Let's go inside and take a look at this fabulous exhibition. These are works from the Cleveland Museum's own collection, and those on loan from all over the world. You know, Picasso returned to still life painting throughout his 70-year career, some of them ranging in size from tiny to monumental. Perhaps to better understand Picasso is to quote him. He said, "I paint the way some people write their autobiography." And he also said, "I paint for the mind rather than the eye." Pablo Picasso. He lived for 92 years, a full life, no doubt, a productive life, you bet. The exhibition continues here in Cleveland through May 3rd, then travels to Philadelphia. Now we travel to Yorktown Lanes and our bowling artist, Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. There's still some work to be done on the portrait here at Yorktown Lanes. One of the most knowledgeable crowds that we have on the PBA Tour. This is our 19th time to the Cleveland area. And the man with me in the announce booth is the first player this year who has the chance to win back-to-back titles. Last week, our fifth-place finisher this week, Dave Ferraro, went through 4 players, and Dave, back-to-back, you'd have to win 8 consecutive games on TV. What has been your secret so far this year?
Well, if I give that out, I think all my opponents will know, but I'm just going to go out there and try to bowl like I did last week, and hopefully things will go my way.
David, the PBA changed to an hour practice before the telecast 4 weeks ago. Has that helped your game or hurt your game?
I think that's probably the best rule the PBA made in a while. There's a transition period that goes on there with the lanes, the first 20 or 30 minutes that we bowl. And when we get the hour practice, that transition takes place, and the lanes kind of taper down, and you can tell by the scores the last couple weeks.
All right, David, good luck today in your first match. Now let's take a look at how the players are playing the championship pair. The PBA lane maintenance crew has put out an oil pattern where the oil is down 37 feet on the lane. Now they've added a little extra oil between the second and third arrows on the track on the right side so that the right-handers have a little extra to play on, and hopefully it doesn't hook too much. The last 23 feet are dry. Now our 1 and 2 players, Steve Cook and Aulby, are playing the big hook ball on the left side out to the edge into the 1-2 pocket. Our 3 right-handers are playing somewhere around the second arrow, swinging not real wide out to about the 7th board, Chris, into the 1-3, and there's a lot of money at stake, pal.
There really is a total of $135,000 here. 21 to the winner, 11, 75, 6, and 5. The Cleveland Open taking place in Parma Heights, Ohio. City of about 88,000 happy residents. Good place to live as we look at Dave Ferraro of Kingston, New York. He's taking a practice shot, and his opponent from Corpus Christi, Texas, is Mark Turney. 33 years old, 6'5", 215 pounds. Best single finish was 13th at El Paso.
Chris, an interesting point that Ferraro made as he takes his practice shot here is that the scores have not only been better, they were averaging about 203 the first 7 weeks of the tour, and almost 218 the last 3. So I think it's been a great improvement. has put a little bit more knowledge into the game. There's not as much guesswork. The players know where to play the championship pair. Now let's see if Ferraro can keep his hot hand.
Number one in the averages thus far through 10 tournaments as we go into our 11th on the winter tour, averaging 218. Ferraro, left lane. Applying a little pressure early. And the non-winner, Mark Turney.
Two of the tallest players in the PBA on the championship round today. Turney at 6'5". Our man in second place, Steve Cook, at 6 feet 7 inches tall.
And a disastrous result of his very first shot on national television. Tough break, 4-7-10.
Turney with his ball just at his waist takes about 7, 8, 9 steps, just trying to get his rhythm. Has just a nice swing. He's right here. A tall guy doesn't have to be in very good shape to go through the line. He gets a lot of leverage.
So is an open frame now for the man who has won a regional title in regional competition. He has finished second 7 times before winning the title, so he doesn't give up easily. He'll have to come back now on the left lane.
Check the position. He's playing around the center. He has a very nice approach. Oh, there's a lot of steps to it. He's walking into this area. He's going to swing out right around the second arrow into the pocket. Look at those creeping steps, just the timing steps.
Beautiful job. After open in the first frame, back with a strike. And now Ferraro can increase his lead if he can double right here. 22-pin lead early in the match. First game, the man that went through last week's telecast, perfect, winning 4.
Well, Ferraro doing it about as well as anybody can. Just check his position here. Now look at his left arm, how well he's balanced. Shoulders level, lofts the ball about 36 inches over the foul line. And Chris, that's reminiscent of Mark Roth when he was red hot in his years. He got that ball well out over the line. Pretty standard game for Ferraro. He's almost in the same position as you saw Turney. Look at this, sliding up the center, just outside the second arrow.
Living a 10-pin, the 32-year-old who has 5th appearance in the last 6 weeks. 6 of the last 9 tournaments he's bowled. He's made the television finals, going back to the Bud Light Touring Players Championship in Taylor, Michigan. We're in Parma Heights, Ohio today. Seemingly very quiet and calm, Dave Ferraro.
When you have it going like Ferraro, you have to watch. You almost don't be too complacent out there. You have to stay up for those matches. Now, Turney is still probably a little bit nervous that he's trailing by 21, but don't count him out.
Beautiful double. Mark Turney told us earlier about his career pursuits before he turned professional.
Well, for the longest time, I was a aircraft electronics technician, and I didn't want to be 50 years old and wondering why I didn't ever try it. So here I am.
It takes courage, doesn't it, Chris? A lot of people have abilities to do many things in life and never take a chance. This man's taking a chance, and he's proven to be very successful.
More power to him. Well done. Lorenzo Carter and family were Cleveland's first permanent settlers. Their large log cabin, as you'll see, served as a meeting hall, a church, and a trading post. All a part of the history of this neat city on the shores of Lake Erie. Cleveland. What a cabin.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And I just know someone's going to find out.
What type of adult would come forward and admit to eating a kid's cereal?
I don't just love them, you see. It's more of a craving, a visceral sort of desire.
That sweet crunch in cold milk is a taste no adult can resist.
Honestly, I never even touched the stuff.
Yes, he does.
I'm sold. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
At the Cleveland Open, Dave Ferraro at one time led by 22. That has changed now. With a spare up, he's shooting in the fourth frame, leading by one because his opponent, rookie Mike Turney, tripled. Ooh, broke up that split.
The thing about Ferraro now that he's on such a hot streak, and you'll notice with a player as you see his ball being released and coming down the lane, is he very seldom pulls a shot. See how relaxed he was with his follow-through? He just missed a little to the right, but a 2-pin's easy enough. It's when you pull the ball under pressure, you get the 4-6, the 4-7-10, so forth, that you get in a lot of trouble.
Dave Ferraro and Mark Turney in our first match. Dave Ferraro earlier had some thoughts on what separates the average pro from the great one.
I think it's probably the mental game more so than anything. There's so many good bowlers out here with good physical games and good styles, and I think the difference between the great bowlers and the good bowlers are their mental game.
You agree, Bo?
I agree, Chris. I was talking with David Ozio before we went on the air, and he had the exact same thing to say.
Now Ferraro leaving a 3-6.
Ferraro, the most consistent bowler over the last 7 years on the PBA Tour. He holds the streak for staying in the top 10 averages the last 7 years from 1985 to 91. And as you mentioned, Chris, he's number one so far in 92 with a 218 average.
David has won a Cleveland Open back in 1987 when it was contested at Buckeye Lanes. All right, now, Mark Turney of Corpus Christi. He opened in the first. He's strung 3 now, shooting in the 5th. All right.
Gets a good break, the ball drifting high. The 2-pin just nudges against the 4 and doesn't take it out, but he gets a good break. Now watch the ball as it comes wide out here and then swings out in the area. And the key pin is the 2-pin as it goes against the sideboard. Doesn't quite take out the 4, but he avoids the split.
And by marking, hangs on to a 1-pin lead over Dave Ferraro. The winner of this first game will meet Ballard Jr. And then it'll be lefty Steve Cook and our tournament leader is Steve's brother-in-law, Player of the Year Mike Aulby. Now it's a 7-pin for Turney.
Looks pretty good out there, Chris. He sends the ball very wide and gets it all the way back. You see the spin, the counterclockwise rotation of the ball. It goes out to about the 3rd board on the right-hand side. 39 boards in a bowling lane, 42 inches wide, and he uses most of it on the right side. Right now with a spare, the match would be even through 6.
Okay. Ballard Jr., who will meet the winner, continues to practice off to our right. Thus, you hear the 10-pin fall, and now let's check the grip of Ferraro.
Just a relaxed fingertip down to the first knuckle, and a relaxed shot there.
Ferraro, who was on 8 telecasts last year, winning the Bud Light and Taylor, a lot of 5ths and a 2nd.
A lot of people believe that to be a successful bowler in today's game, you have to throw the big hook ball like Bob Vespi or we saw Marshall Holman in his heyday, but that's not necessarily true. As you see excellent player like Ferraro, who's got the hot hand on the tour, using loft, angle, changing balls, changing speed, very cerebral game, becoming one of the dominant players.
The 1990 Firestone Tournament of Champions winner is trying to take a 10-pin lead. He's left the 7-pin.
Not much to think about here. David will stand on the right-hand part of the lanes. He'll cross about the third arrow from the right channel, take out the 7-pin. Just a matter of staying on top of your concentration, and this match will be even through 7 frames.
In the Cleveland, Ohio area, the Arcade. It's a 5-story atrium, 350 feet long, loaded with shops and eateries. Place to behold.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Speed Stick. It's 110% protection against wetness and odor that lasts all day. Start the morning with Speed Stick, the wide stick, for powerful 24-hour protection.
No better way to face the day. No better way to face the day.
Speed Stick, 110% protection.
Fortunately, my heart attack wasn't the end of the world. It was kind of a beginning. To help prevent a second attack, my doctor prescribed exercise, eating right, and Therapy Bear Enteric Aspirin. Enteric means it's safety-coated to help protect your stomach, because it doesn't dissolve in your stomach. I asked my doctor if this regimen with Therapy Bear Enteric would really make a difference down the road. That's why I'm doing it myself, he said.
Therapy Bear Enteric Aspirin, the wonder drug that works wonders.
What do I like about the World League? It's pro football, and that's my kind of football.
The World League is back Sunday on ABC Sports.
Oh, yes, the Monarchs versus the Knights. Mark Turney, Corpus Christi. All even match, spare up shooting in the 7th against Dave Ferraro. Breaking sharply at the end. Coming up high, and he has left 369. Looks simple enough, doesn't it? Lots of concentration. Okay, nice spare for Turney, and here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Del Ballard, you needed 7 pins last year to win a tournament. Obviously, you threw it in the gutter, as most people remember. But at what point now have you decided when you need a pin count, are you going to play it safe and throw it down the middle?
If I need 7 pins, it's going down the middle. I'm not flirting with any more of this junk. I'm going to throw it right down the middle, and I will get 7.
How about 8?
8, that's questionable. 9 for sure, the strike ball.
All right, good luck to Del Ballard in the next match. Back to you, Chris.
What a guy. Great guy, Del Ballard. Now there was a powerful 8-frame strike from Mark Turney. Solid pocket hit. So Ferraro now will be up shooting in the 8th with a spare working. Leading by 3. .36 for Ferraro.
Chris, he doesn't seem to have the intensity he had last week in the Johnny Petraglia Open. He is kind of nonchalant. Look, he's coming right down the second arrow, and this ball breaks a little bit high. You can watch him just breaking up the split. The ball clearing through, boom, and he's got the spare.
You know, prior to your interviewing him at the top of the telecast, I said, how's Gloria, your wife Gloria, and you saw a sadness in his eye. Out here on tour, you guys are away from home a lot.
Well, I know that, and Dave with 2 children and a lovely wife, obviously misses them, but that's part of the job profile as a pro bowler now. It's coming down to gut time right now, 9th frame, 1-pin lead for Ferraro. We have a chance for a tie match.
Ooh. The Firestone champion unloaded.
This is probably Mark Turney's biggest shot of his career. He trails by 1 going in the 9th frame. He has a strike up, has a chance to take the lead. This is his first championship round appearance.
Look at that meeting challenge. Okay, next Saturday on ABC Sports, pro bowlers really start to heat up the competition. Bowling's Triple Crown starts with a big contribution going to the winner of the $300,000 Bud Light PBA National Championship. That's right, and then in 3 weeks, the second jewel of the Triple Crown, the BPAA United States Open at Canandaigua, New York at Roseland Bowl.
Another major now, a big shot again for Turney. He has the lead. Can he extend it to 19?
Remember, he had an open frame at the start.
A concerned David Ferraro looks to the right. An untested Mark Turney showing what kind of metal he's cut of as he right now can shut out Ferraro with another strike and a 1 count. The 1 count's automatic. This is the big shot. Shanko, another tough Texan. How about the Ballards, the Benoits, the Ozios? They just keep coming out of Texas. I don't know what they're teaching these guys or feeding them down there, but this has been a great performance in his first championship round appearance. The 2 pins, they're automatic. He's going against another Texan Ballard.
I'm impressed. Hook 'em horns, as they say. Okay. Well, there he is. First win on national television against the great champion. ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC station.
I'll take the special.
I'll take the special.
I'll take the special.
And you should too. The monthly specials at True Value hardware stores, like Contico Tough Crates clear storage organizers for just $6.88 each. They really cut through the clutter, and in March, they're just $6.88 each while supplies last. That's just one of the terrific specials at True Value, the neighborhood hardware stores with national buying power.
I'll take the special.
It's not easy to pull yourself away from a bowl of Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Those 2 scoops of raisins taste so good, you'll find that once you start, you can't leave them behind. It's those 2 scoops that taste too good to pull yourself away. 2 scoops of raisins, golden flakes of bran. Get every bite you can of those 2 scoops that taste too good to pull yourself away. 2 scoops that taste too good in Kellogg's Raisin Bran. 2 scoops.
They're just a couple of playboys, taking their women for everything they're worth. Steve Martin and Michael Caine are Dirty Rotten Scoundrels Sunday.
Spring. Time of year when all I think about is cars, hot cars, MR2, Celicas, Paseos.
It's the Toyota Spring Drive Sales Event. It's on now at your Toyota dealer. There's big option package savings up to $1,500 on Celica and huge factory-to-dealer incentives. Toyota Paseo's low price will get your adrenaline going. And see the hot new MR2. It's time to get to your Toyota dealer. I'm in love.
I know what you do for me, Toyota.
You can score big at WSBA's 3rd Annual Team Classic with a guaranteed first prize of 4, count 'em, 492 Pontiacs. To qualify, just bring your 4-person team to York any weekend between April 4th and August 23rd. The top 30 teams return Labor Day weekend for another 6-game shootout, and each member of that winning team takes home a brand new Le Mans. This WSBA tournament is open to men and women with bowling league averages. For more information, phone 848-1632.
It's the newest surgical craze, and its popularity is growing.
The Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Kellogg, proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team. and by Firestone Tire, official sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team.
At Yorktown Lanes, in his very first match in the championship finals, Turney defeats Ferraro 229 to 204 with 7 strikes. Next up, Ballard Jr. Here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Despite his loss, you're now the leading money winner on the tour, Dave Ferraro, but the championship pair, did you expect that type of score on the championship pair?
Well, scores weren't real high all week. I think it took 215 or 216 average to make the top 5, and it was very similar to what we bowled on all week.
How about Turney? Did you expect a rookie to do that against you?
Well, you got to give him credit. First show, and he punches out in the 9th and 10th. Great game there.
Well, he'll always remember that one. Unfortunately for you, David, you'll be back next week in the national championship. Now, Chris, let's see how Turney does against a fellow Texan, Ballard.
Okay. Standing room only crowd here at Yorktown Lanes in Parma Heights, Ohio. So it's a 33-year-old professional with 1 regional title up to now, going against a 28-year-old 9-time champion, a Firestone winner, U.S. Open winner, a Masters winner, Ballard. So high hit, and he gets by with only the 3, 6, 10.
When I came back, Chris, my first term was Sacramento, California this year, and I went down and practiced on Monday, and the first player I met was Mark Turney. He introduced himself to me. I was practicing over the side, and he says, I don't know anybody. He says, I know who you are, and he came down and practiced. What a nice kid, and I'll tell you what, he's got a real good game, can only get better.
Look at the speed on that spare shot. Woo.
Well, you can't doubt his strength. 6 feet 5 inches tall, 215 pounds, and he does look strong.
Now, here he is, Ballard Jr. Steady head and keeps low.
Come on, ball. Roll up.
Robbed.
The messenger head pin came back around off the left sideboard, but didn't quite take out the 10. Chris, you're absolutely correct. Watch the head of Ballard as he drives through his shot. Everything in perfect position, and just as steady as can be. Stays down with the shot, and if he stays in a low knee bend, he has as good a style as anybody on the tour.
Dell went from 5th to 3rd with a big position round game of 256. This is his 24th television appearance, and I can't believe, Bo, is this statistic correct? His first TV appearance this year?
It is, although Ballard has struggled a little bit, and what he said it was is basically wasn't staying down with the shot, and that's what he's kind of concentrating on. Now let's look at his position on the championship pair. Staying on the left, going to drift a little bit more towards the center. He's going to play a little bit more hook than we saw David Ferraro.
Got to lay.
Wearing a wireless mic, Ballard, who last year was on 8 telecasts, and he won 4.
Well, he can get a hot hand, but once again, he pulled up at the line that time. We saw him in the very first frame lead the 10-pin. He was low, had the good knee bend. That time, before he started his slide step, he started pushing off with that right foot, that pivot step, raised up out of the shot, and now he's high and leads the 3-6.
All right. Ballard, a little more uptight than we've seen him. But, as we said, it's his first time on television after 10 tournaments, this being the 11th. Now here is Turney. Back at it. Coming up next on ABC Sports, Debbie Thomas, Brian Bartano, Scott Hamilton, and more electrify the ice with special performances of the World Challenge of Champions. And from Indianapolis, finest male gymnasts go for all-around gold in the World Gymnastics Championships. Amid the continuing rush of sexual assault charges against athletes, Wide World of Sports will feature the story of former boxer Tony Ayala, who was convicted of aggravated sexual battery 9 years ago. It all follows bowling today on Wide World of Sports.
That should be interesting.
Ten-pin for Turney.
Turney makes an adjustment on the left-hand lane. He had been high in the first frame, so he moved his feet about 2 boards left on the approach. He's getting much more relaxed as he switches ball to a lower surface friction ball to cut down the hook, go across lane, uses the full grip. Look at the size of his hands. And he's just going to break that wrist back, throw the straight rocket shot, as we call it, across lane at the 10.
If you just joined us, Mark Turney, to whom you're looking, with 7 strikes, defeated Dave Ferraro, last week's winner. First game score was 229 to 204. Now we're in our second game.
Come on.
The monster jumped up. The 6-7 monster split. Now this is makeable for Ballard Jr., but he's a little bit surprised at his ball's reaction as he cuts right through the middle. The 3-pin slides around the 6. The 2 taps out the 4, leaves the 7. Needs to get the ball to the right of the 6-pin, slide it into the 7.
What are the odds?
About 6-1 for right-hander.
Ooh. That's a disappointment after doing so well. A championship round appearance isn't new for Dell, but there is something new in his life.
Yes, I'm involved in a new company that involves 3 PBA members, a tour consultant, and a marketing guy. And we make equipment for the tour, and it's really turned out very well. I'm using the equipment today, and I hope I'm very successful with it.
Equipment is only as good as the person that uses it, right?
No more needs to be said, pal, as you see Ballard drifting high, 3-6-9 spare, one of the more difficult spares that a right-hander can encounter on the tour. As Kelly Ballard looks on, the farmer Kelly McGregor, her father, an excellent bowler out here, Bob, on the tour.
She's one of my new champions, and I'll tell you why after a bit.
All right.
Ball chop.
Oh, tough break. Dale Ballard not concentrating up to his usual Texas style. Our look at the hit parade from 30 years ago continues today with Let Me In by the Sensations.
Taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Bud Light delivers.
U.S. Olympic athletes. All told, they put in millions of training miles. It's the same idea behind our Firestone Firehawk Endurance Championship Series. The Firestone performance tires we've raced have run up more than 1.5 million miles. And everything we learn goes into every Firestone performance tire we make. Is it worth it? We think so. It may be the first jewel in their Triple Crown, but to them it's just another event.
Nah.
It's the Bud Light PBA National Championship next Saturday on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Okay, here at Yorktown Lanes in Parma Heights. Mark Turney yet to win a PBA title. Marked with a spare in the 4th after having left the 8-pin. Now he's left a 3-6 in the 5th frame on the left lane. He is in the lead. 23 pins. Going against 9-time champion. 2 majors, Firestone and U.S. Open. There he is, Dale Ballard. Up to now, having an off day. 2 open frames back to back.
Gonna hook.
8-pin. I mentioned his wife Kelly was a newfound heroine. She got in the car in the Dallas area, drove to Indianapolis yesterday, started at 12 noon, got into Indianapolis at 2 a.m., took an 8 a.m. flight Indianapolis to Cleveland to watch her husband bowl. That's love, isn't it? There, Kelly. Okay, Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. In the semifinal will be Big Steve Cook, the first lefty to come on the scene today. And Steve, the lefties out-averaged the righties on that championship pair this week by 19 pins. Do you really feel that's a tremendous advantage for you?
I don't know about that. I'm just going to go out there and try to throw 12 good shots. Last week I didn't, and hopefully this week I will, and we'll see if I get to the title match against my brother-in-law.
All right. How about your brother-in-law if you get there? Is he easy to whip?
Well, we're 2-1, so I think I need to win in one to get back to 2-2, and hopefully that'll be the way it happens.
All right, Steve, good luck. Back to you, Chris.
And Del Ballard, amazingly so, gets his first strike, and it's coming in the 6th frame. With a spare up now. Shooting in the 6th. The leader by 23, Mark Turney. Very workmanlike performance here today by the non-winner.
So far this year, after the 5th frame, the man who's been leading, this is through 11 weeks on the PBA Tour, has won 33 of the 40 matches, an amazing 83%. And right now, Mark Turney falls into that category as he has a 23-pin lead through 5. He's got a strike up in the 6th, can make it 33 in the 7th with one additional strike.
The winner to meet, Steve Cook. Now he leads by 33 pins. First, Firestone winner Ferraro, now Firestone winner Del Ballard in the heat of the battle. We'll be back.
Flakes? Just flakes? Hey, I hope you don't mind me saying so, but this stuff looks wimpy, you know what I mean? I mean, look at it. Who's going to eat this stuff? Nobody I know, I can tell you that right now. Good. Fine. I made a mistake, okay? But it's good. Simple, down to earth. I mean, that's a muscle, you know what I mean?
Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Skin Bracer Aftershave. Its cool, brisk tingle really gets you going. And what a great scent. Skin Bracer.
No better way to face the day. Find
It is one of the most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil.
Brian Boitano, Debbie Thomas, and Scott Hamilton star in special performances. Plus, top male gymnasts go for the gold. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
In from Akron, the new commissioner of the PBA, Mike Connor.
Lovely wife Patty was up here last night watching the action, enjoying it. Now Del Ballard needs a strike here to cut the lead of Turney's to 23.
Gonna hook this time? What is going on? Scores?
Well, he's asking himself a question, Chris. It's easy to answer it from this seat as you see his ball go wide. The first couple of frames, Del Ballard, we noticed he raised up out of the shot, and then he made an adjustment off a bad shot. That's disaster in the championship round. He's moved too far left to adjust for the overhooking of the first couple of frames, and he is in trouble.
You got to be careful he doesn't hook that heel. It's hanging off the approach. Del Ballard, who won his first title, and it was the United States Open, going against Mark Turney, who's looking for his first. Nelson?
You bet. Turney looking to get in the Firestone Tournament of Champions also, which Soper is on the bubble. Now Ballard needs to get it going. 33 pins behind, 3 frames left.
It's only his second strike, Nelson, and this is first match.
Well, he looked better on that one. It's a matter of getting zeroed in, and he needs to get a little help from Turney. Turney, as the fans can easily see who are here at the bowling center, Yorktown Lanes, is not the typical nervous rookie out there. He looks very confident. Let's see if he can extend his lead here in the ninth.
Wow, he's remarkably good.
Mike Aulby, record year, 298,000. He's our tournament leader. Ozio bowled this week. Monicelli had 2 great years, and most all of the players are heading down to Toledo, just 120 miles west of Cleveland, for the beginning of the Triple Crown events. The PBA National Championship starts tomorrow at Imperial Lanes. Now Turney up with a commanding lead, 9th frame.
Here's the man that beat Dave Ferraro 229 to 204. Now putting it to Ballard Jr. whom we're looking.
Bet this one hooks.
There's a double.
Put a little extra sauce on that one, that inside-out rotation of Ballard's there, and his game is pretty sharp. Just made some early mistakes through the first 4 frames. You see Ballard with a 9 count, 8 count, 8 count, 6 count. Then he straightened his game out, but it looks like it's a little bit too late. Turney concentrating on his score. Ballard, the best he can go is 204. Turney in the driver's seat.
Ain't good enough. It don't matter.
Action of the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. If Del Ballard's going to strike on this shot, it's got to be that pin that takes out the 4. The 2 goes to the sideboard, slides behind the 4. Ballard is going to be 183 with a spare, not enough today.
And he's steaming. A great competitor. And if you know him as well as Bo and I do, you know that this is just causing aches and pains. He doesn't like to succumb to anyone.
Agreed. And Ballard, one of the 3 players heading down the national championship that needs that tournament for the Triple Crown. Steve Cook, who's coming up in the next match, needs the national championship, and the great Marshall Holden. All 3 entered next week.
So Del Ballard, bowling out of Richardson, Texas, is defeated by Mark Turney. Turney now 2 victories in against left-hander. Bo's tip this week, spotlights Tour veteran Bob Benoit. Watch.
As lane conditions change in the sport of bowling, a player must change his game. Let's take a look at the style of Bob Benoit and what he has done to become successful. Bob had a fairly conventional game in the 70s, a straight wrist and a pretty straight ball. Not very successful on modern lane conditions. Now Bob went home, changed his game in the 80s, and has come out in the 90s as one of the top players. He has his hand much farther underneath the ball, an inside-out swing, obviously a much bigger hook, and check out this pin action. Bob, you made the change to become a successful player. What exactly did you do?
Well, the biggest thing that I did was go from the straight wrist on my old style to the very cupped wrist, which allowed me to rotate under the ball and around the side of the ball to allow me to get the big reaction on the back end. And the only way that I could do that for myself was to drill up a 10-pound ball, and I would throw a 10-pound for 1 month and 11 for another month, and then that way I worked my way back into a 16-pound ball.
All right, Bob, let's take a look at how that release works. That super fast release, the power crank of Bob Benoit.
As you can see, my hand's under the ball, and this allows me to lift through the ball and around it to create the big heavy roll that I need to get the big hook.
Thank you, Bob. Remember his tip. Get that wrist underneath the ball, go straight up through it. You'll get more power and improve your game.
It's not easy to pull yourself away, pull yourself away, pull yourself away from a bowl of Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Flight 421, you're cleared for takeoff. Do you read?
Those 2 scoops of raisins taste so good, you'll find that once you start, you can't leave it behind. It's those 2 scoops that taste too good. Pull yourself away. 2 scoops that taste too good, too good, too good. In Kellogg's Raisin Bran. 2 scoops. Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Your light shining for everyone to see.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can feel it, do you feel it? You know you got it right. Everything else is just a light. Keep your light shining. Everything else is just a light. You gotta shine on. Everything else is just a light.
When life turns up the heat.
Hello? Yeah, hi. I'm Jeff Green.
There's Degree Antiperspirant. Degree's body heat activated.
1 more minute.
To release extra protection.
Jeff? Hi.
Degree, your body heat turns it on.
Red Devil Enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil Enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
Call now to feel the excitement of the perfect game.
Oh, yeah.
Thrill to the making of a 7-10 split.
Wow, let's replay that, baby.
And enjoy historic footage of bowling's legendary champions. ABC Sports presents an all-new home video, Bowling, the Perfect Game. Available only by calling 1-800-4ABC-VCR. Classic moments in bowling history can be yours for the incredible price of $14.98 plus $3 shipping.
At Yorktown Lanes in the Cleveland Open, the first match won by Corpus Christi's Mark Turney over Dave Ferraro, 229-204. Turney comes right back, defeats another major champion, Ballard, 247-181. He's thrown 15 strikes in his 2 victories. Now, the 2 tallest men on the Professional Bowlers Tour go head-to-head in the semifinal.
You'd say this is a big match, right, Chris?
The big match. Got it.
And here's some of the numbers for the week here at the Cleveland Open. We had 160 players in the field, average game 202, 210. That's about normal for the top 24. Some of the other finishers, Dave D'Entremont, the local, 6th place. Moser, he was 8 of 8 in his cashing to start the season. Jimmy Johnson, his mother was up watching. Jeff Gurman was the leader with just 8 games to go. Big Tony Franklin. Norm Duke, defending champion, had the only 300 this week. Goebel, Lefty Shreve had an 875 sanctioned league score a couple years back. Davidson getting better every week. Jimmy Johnson, good winner. Bobby Benoit, Bad Boy Lawrence in 9th place. 19th there, 1,700. Larry Stevens replaced Jess Stayrook, had to pull out with a wrist injury. Houston, Holman Ozio, those are household names. And trying to outrun the bird right here is Eugene McCune in 24th place, Chris.
All right, our next stops, March 28th, the $300,000 Bud Light PBA National Championship. That is in Toledo a week from today. 2 weeks from today, back out to beautiful Sayville, New York. Long Island Open, $130,000 Glaciers Long Island Open. We look forward to that event. 3 weeks from today, the Bowling Proprietors stage, another renewal of their United States Open at Roseland Bowl in Canandaigua, New York. Here he is, back again after last week's performance.
A man who has won the U.S. Open, Steve Cook.
He won the Open in '86. He won the Firestone in 1981. And is Mark Turney getting a baptism of fire, Nelson? His first time on.
I agree, Chris, but I think he's pouring the water. He's not taking it on the forehead, that's for sure. Because he has defeated 2 good opponents very solidly with a 238 average. Here he is in the semifinal.
Leaving a 4-pin.
Following up with the past 3 weeks, the man who has won the first match has gone on to win the title. Turney has won his first 2 matches, and he has a chance to win the title. Now let's watch his footwork. He takes anywhere from 9, 11 to 13 steps, just kind of getting his timing. And actually, it's just a 5-step delivery, but there's a lot of action there.
Costly error.
Boy, oh boy, to start the game like that. He looks a little bit unflappable, but he missed an easy spare of the 4-pin. I'd have to say, if you took a survey of most bowlers, the 4-pin or the 5-pin or the 6-pin, any one in that row are the easiest spare. He has given Cook an opening with a miss in the first frame.
Comes right back as he did in the first match after an error. Remarkable. 33-year-old Mark Turney of Corpus Christi. The forehead tap.
Well, as you've always said, Chris, you can't make up for a miss in bowling, and he has to just forget about it and watch and hope that Steve Cook doesn't wipe him out in the early going.
Big double by the big man. 45th telecast in his career. 2nd this year. 4th last week in the Johnny Petraglia Open.
See the good positions, even of a big man, how he gets down at the line. Now, he has a real high backswing, probably the most powerful game on the tour, as he has to be in just terrific position. But that's as good as I've seen Cook roll the ball. He struggled a little bit with that big body and that big ball in the last couple years, Chris. He took out some videotapes 5 or 6 years ago, worked on his game, start working on a little more knee bend, and now he's back in shape. Now watch Steve Cook. He's going to walk almost perfectly straight. Then he's going to start the ball here, and then the big swing out to the edge. Watch the knee bend also. He's down with that one.
Mike Aulby's brother-in-law, Steve Cook, stringing 3. His brother-in-law will meet the winner of this game, the semifinal game, in Parma Heights, Ohio.
This young man, Mark Turney, sponsors himself on the tour. It takes about $800 a week to be out here on tour. Turney doing it all himself, so this is his pocketbook he's working on right now.
And a high hit, leaving a 6-10. Mark's best finish, he and Ed Richardson finished 11th at the PBA Doubles Classic in Las Vegas. His best singles ever, 13th at El Paso.
And you mentioned Ed Richardson. There's another young man to watch. I went to lunch with both these players in Baltimore. I watched them bowl. They both have a lot of potential. Richardson will get there soon, too.
There's your leader, Mike Aulby, going for his 20th championship today. Practicing. Smooth.
Well, Chris, we have a pair to the left of the championship pair. That'd be 29 and 30 here. The championship pair 31 and 2. And then way off to the right, players can continue to practice. This is each week. Aulby on 39 and 40. Now here's Turney in the 4th.
Semifinal match here. 31-pin lead by Steve Cook, who's perfect up to now.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Speed Stick. It's 110% protection against wetness and odor that lasts all day. Start the morning with Speed Stick, the wide stick, for powerful 24-hour protection.
No better way to face the day. No better way to face the day.
Speed Stick, 110% protection.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
What do I like about the World League? It's pro football, and that's my kind of football.
The World League is back Sunday on ABC Sports.
Two of the motivating forces behind Steve Cook, his wife Candy, and their 4-year-old daughter Kristen. They have children Stacy and Jill, and for Kristen, it's her first opportunity to watch her dad up close and personal during a telecast. 3 in a row, shooting in the 4th frame against Mark Turney. High hit. Hitting the 2, 4, 7, 8. And that brought a smile, I'm sure, from Steve's brother-in-law, Mike Aulby, who is our tournament leader. There's always that possibility that they can meet again in the championship game, but you must remember, Mark Turney has won the first 2 matches this afternoon here at Yorktown Lanes. Chops them off the 7. The door is open for Mark as we go to Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Mike Aulby, a little chink in your brother-in-law's game right there. And for you as the tournament leader, you're 6 wins, no losses over the past 5 years from the #1 position. What's the secret, and what are you going to do today?
There's no secret. I do the same thing everybody else does. I keep my head down, bowl as best I can, and hopefully I come out and win. You just got to give it 100% every time you go out.
All right, that's his theory, Chris, and let's see if he gets to bowl his brother raw. There's still a lot of action left in the semifinal.
We're in the 5th frame of the semifinal game. He leads now only by 15. But main thing is he's back striking. Kristen loves it. Isn't Candy pretty? Did you see her sister, Tammy, married to Mike Aulby? The Canepa sisters.
The Canepa girls, beautiful girls, great mothers. Now Turney up in the 5th frame. He's gotten an opening from Cook. Let's see if he takes advantage of it.
Wonderful performance. Next on Wide World Challenge of Champions, Debbie Thomas, Brian Boitano, Scott Hamilton, and more. Then from Indianapolis, finest male gymnasts go for the all-around gold in the World Gymnastics Championships. And amid the continuing rush of sexual assault charges against athletes, Wide World of Sports will feature the story of former boxer Tony Aiello, who was convicted of aggravated sexual battery 9 years ago. That follows us, Wide World.
Turney has the lead, throws 3 in a row after Cook gave him that opening in the 3rd frame. He jumped right on it. Now the onus is back on Cook. He can retake the lead. He only trails by 5. Great action.
Okay, Steve Cook admitted to us his disappointment in last week's performance. Earlier, he outlined what went wrong and what changes he's made.
Well, last week I got out there on the show and I just kind of rushed myself. I really didn't set myself for every shot. And I really thought about it quite a bit driving here to Cleveland this week, and I told myself I was going to make the show again, that I was going to make sure I made good shots, and hopefully today I'll end up number 1.
All right, chance to string 3, increase his lead, 15. Game is on. Don't go away because we'll be back for more of this semifinal game as Cook leads by 15 over Turney.
You rode the same rides, ate the same junk, got the same heartburn. But his antacid's different from yours. His Tums has calcium. Most antacids don't. Regular Rolaids uses an aluminum salt. This uses aluminum and magnesium. So does this. Of all these, only Tums helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium you need every day.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
I'll take the special.
I'll take the special.
I'll take the special.
And you should too. The monthly specials at True Value Hardware stores. Like this 37-piece ratcheting screwdriver bit and socket set from Allenite for just $9.88. Make repairs yourself and save. In March, get it for just $9.88 while supplies last. It's just one of the terrific specials at True Value, the neighborhood hardware stores with national buying power.
I'll take the special.
It may be the first jewel in their Triple Crown, but to them, it's just another event.
Nah.
It's the Bud Light PBA National Championship next Saturday on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
And what's last year's Player of the Year up to, Bo? David Ozio.
Well, standing right next to the announce booth, kind of watching the action out there of another fellow Texan, Mark Turney, in his first championship round appearance, and contemplating a 140-pound tarpon he dropped in the Key West a couple weeks ago.
Watch him in Toledo. Tendinitis and all.
All right, now Turney up in the 7th frame, trails by 15, can cut the lead to 5.
Picking up new fans with each shot. Mark Turney of Corpus Christi.
Lane's very slick here this week. The players said it's probably the oiliest or slickest lanes they bowled on all year long as Cook looks away contemplating his own game. And Mark Turney with that medium speed has been able to conquer that type of lane condition. And to think about it, we've only had one solid tap today. That was the solid 8-pin left by Turney. So great action, great pin action, and a good premium on the solid hit. Now he can retake the lead in the 8th.
Trying to guide it right.
Butch Soper on the bubble at the Firestone. And here's a spare that's given the players some trouble this week. As you saw at the top, when we set up the championship round, there's a little extra oil between the second and third arrows on the right. That's because the track's a little worn. Tough shot across lane.
Still upset as the ball went high on his first shot in that frame. It was the 8th frame, and now with 3 in a row shooting in the 8th, Steve Cook. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, the World League returns. In our season premiere, we'll see the 1991 league champion London Monarchs host the New York, New Jersey Knights. Or some of you will see the debut of the Ohio Glory as they meet the Orlando Thunder. Then, 6-seeded Michael Chang meets Alberto Mancini in the men's final of the Lipton International Players Championship. It's all live, except on the West Coast, tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Cook 18-pin lead, 9th frame, has a potential 264. Turney a potential 237. High-scoring match.
Mowing it down. Bo, friends of mine, Jackie and John Talguda, as we look at the Cooks, Tammy and Kristen, told me a nice little feature about this village of Parma Heights. 900 senior citizens get their lawns mowed for free by the city. 2,200 senior citizen families get their snow removal for free.
They might need that snow removal today.
True. But I like that lawn mowing deal.
All right, Cook, who has been using that piece of tape basically pushed over the back of his thumb for protection. I asked his wife last night about it, and she says that Steve's been using it for quite a while and lets him get out of the thumb hole much more smoothly and keeps down the wear on his thumb. So it's nothing new, but it's kind of interesting. Now Turney for the 10-pin.
Games of 229, 247, 2 victories for Turney.
And Turney, the saga of the man winning the first match is about to end. He has a potential 225. Cook at a 240 pace. It would only take a disaster by Cook and a miracle by Turney to allow Mark to win his first tournament. It looks like it's going to be a brother-in-law final, but there's just one frame left. Let's see. All right, one more strike by Mark Turney, who has just bowled sensationally well today. Would put him at 220s. Cook, as the scoreboard shows, only one errant frame there in the 4th. He has 8 other strikes. If he just spares, he'll be in the 240s. But even with an open, he can still win the match.
Never giving up. 35-year-old Steve Cook, 33-year-old Mark Turney. There you see Cook's string at the top. 5 in a row. Mark had 4, and then spares, now doubled. .223. Mark Turney.
The 10-pin fell a little bit late, Chris. He finishes with 224. That means Steve Cook needs 7 on the first ball. Remember, we asked Ballard the question, at what point do you throw it down the middle? He says, at 7 or less, I throw it down the middle. Let's see what Cook's going to do. 7 pins, 2 balls. He meets his brother-in-law. How about all 10?
He did it. Steve Cook goes into the championship match against another left-hander named Mike Aulby. ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
If you're into looking good, get into Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never let you down.
Everything else is just a light. Everything else is just a light. Everything else is just a light. Everything else.
I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And I just know someone's going to find out.
What type of adult would come forward and admit to eating a kid's cereal?
I don't just love them, you see. It's more of a craving, a visceral sort of desire.
That sweet crunch in cold milk is a taste no adult can resist.
Honestly, I never even touched the stuff.
Yes, he does.
I'm sold. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Saturday, an all-new commish.
You have reason to believe your husband was murdered.
Did you do it for me, Sam? I didn't know you loved me that much.
The commish.
At last, the warming sun breaks through amidst the gentle showers. This then is spring, and with it comes the Toyota Spring Drive Sales Event.
Your Toyota dealer is ready to make you a deal on a great Toyota truck with huge factory-to-dealer incentives and option package savings like $900 on 4Runner. Spring is here, and now's the time to see your Toyota dealer.
This will indeed be a joyous spring.
You never know what kind of copier dealer you got until you have a problem. But when you call them a Minolta dealer...
Hello, Harrisburg Copiers. Bob Louis speaking. May I help you?
You'll always have a dealer who makes service and response a #1 priority. So if you buy a Minolta copier from us, we'll leave no problem unsolved and no question unanswered.
Rhonda Overby covers the Mid-State only on 27 News.
Hello, I'm Frank Gifford in New York. We'll be returning to bowling in just a moment. But coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, World and Olympic figure skating champions sparkle in special performances from the World Challenge of Champions in Oslo. And we'll also be returning to Indianapolis, site of the 1991 World Gymnastics Championships, for the men's all-around competition. Plus, with the explosion of sexual assault charges against athletes, Marianne Grabavoy visits East Jersey State Prison to talk with a promising boxer who ended up behind bars. That's all ahead at 4:30 Eastern, right after bowling. Now let's return to Chris Shackle and today's final match.
Thank you very much, Frank. Mark Turney defeating Dave Ferraro, many-time champion, 229 to 204. Won his second match against Del Ballard, 247 to 181. In-step left-hander Steve Cook wins the match, eliminating Turney 253 to 224, and it sets up a family final. Mike Aulby, the tournament leader. Steve Cook, his brother-in-law. My bowling professor, Hall of Famer Joe Norris. Bo set an all-time ABC total pinfall record in his 63rd ABC tournament.
Well, you're right, Chris. You see some footage of Joe, who bowled 1875 for 4 games, including a 279 finish. Now, here's the record-breaking shot right here in the 4th frame of the first game.
He broke the record of the late Bill Dorman of Fort Wayne, Indiana, another gentleman we knew. And there's Joe, deserved hug, one of the great guys in any form of competition.
Great Hall of Famer. I'm sure he's at home in San Diego watching the Professional Bowlers Tour and wishing it was around in his heyday.
And with Billy, his wife. Okay, here we go. Mike Aulby, 9-4 from the top seed. U.S. Open in '89, PBA National 79. He's incredible.
The brother-in-law matchups, they've bowled each other 3 times for championships. Aulby has won 2, Cook won the other.
Remember, the tournament leader always has to wait in the wings. Mike knows about that because he loves the top seed. So does Steve Cook. Big game to get here, 253 for Steve. Match all even.
2 proven winners, 2 of the big champions we've had out here in the last decade on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Not only multi-titles, Aulby going for his 20th, which is fabulous. The crowd he would join with 20 victories, some of the great names of all time, and Steve Cook, obviously a multi-champion himself. So let's see how it turns out. Both started with strikes.
Steve with 14, an Open and a Firestone. What happened?
As we said earlier, 39 boards on a bowling lane. Steve Cook used the very last edge board, which is, for what it's worth, Chris, is a maple board. And sometimes, as you see, Steve Cook, all he has to do is get the ball around the 1 and to take out the 3. This is a pretty easy spare for him. But I'm saying again, the last edge board, as we call it, is a maple board, and it has a tendency to be a little harder and a little bit higher. So you have, on wood lanes, an edge of maybe not going in the channel. Steve Cook used every bit of that on that particular first shot.
Visual lesson on how to cover the 1-3 for a left-hander.
Just following up real quickly, Chris, on that. When lanes are resurfaced with a resurfacing machine, the maple board being a little harder sometimes isn't cut quite as hard, and so it may be just a pinch higher, and it helps keep the ball in lane. That's both on the right and left sides. Now, Aulby in the second.
So compact, so controlled, using not a lot of the approach, though. 3rd in Sacramento in his first appearance. Look how little he uses.
Very compact, as you said, Chris. 4-step delivery. And look at his positions. Now, look at his pivot step. Look at his slide step. Going to go straight through. Everything on line with the target, as long as he keeps his arm tucked inside out, just like that last shot. Aulby is bowling great. I had a chance to cross with him in the Paula Carter Classic in the qualifying, and that's all he worked on is the inside-out swing. Now, let's see where he is. He's right here. Very short approach. His angle's right in here. Everything lined up in perfect line to the target. Talking about the one little flaw he's had, that's getting his arm away from his body, and he goes over the top of the shot. His thumb was turned the ball too quickly, goes over the top, doesn't get the leverage, it doesn't hook. And here he misses in the 3rd, so he would have a 9-pin lead with the spare.
This is Mike's 61st television appearance, 45th for Steve Cook. All-time leader is Earl Anthony with 114.
Ooh.
Earl with 41 titles, Mike looking for his 20th, and Steve for his 15th.
Now the new Steve Cook, what changes he's made at age 35 to come back here? He's got his shoulders up, his hips are tucked in, and his weight is above his legs to produce more knee bend. See his rocket? There's a good shot. Look at how he's doing. Leaning back, weight over his knees. That keeps him balanced. He needed that as he got a little bit older. Looks very sharp.
All right. 21,000 to the winner of the Cleveland Open, 11 for the runner-up.
I don't think I've seen Steve Cook any sharper at any time as he's been. That 253 bowled in the semifinal, very confident as his wife and daughter Kristen look on. And his arm swing is inside out. That's the key for a great champion. Needs a strike in the 4th to take a 1-pin lead. Championship match.
Pin, left lane.
Disappointing there. One of his best balls. He hits light. He saws the 5 out, throws it against the 6. But the 6 does not bounce into the 10. Steve, disappointed, could have taken the lead. A spare here in the 4th. Trails by 9. The rosin on the ball must be removed. Nothing can be put on the outer surface of a bowling ball that may come off on the lane or alter the surface tension or hardness of the ball. Cook, full grip, easy spare for him, the 10.
Second time that Steve has been on back-to-back telecasts. Last week he was 4th, and we'll see more of this title match following these words.
Oh, now this is a rip-roaring combination. I mean, flakes with flakes. Pretty imaginative. I mean, you'd never sell me on something like this. I don't buy flakes. I date them sometimes, but I don't want to go into that. No, I thought I'd be bored silly by these, but they're simple and crunchy. Actually, I think you got something here.
Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Kellogg's Cornflakes? Wow.
Taste them again for the first time.
I use a shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches like crazy.
You need new Scalpicin, the revolutionary scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Apply Scalpicin anytime for deep scalp itch relief, with medicine chosen by doctors over all these dandruff shampoo formulas. Scalpicin penetrates to relieve the itch and help prevent flaking.
The itch is gone.
New Scalpicin, the scalp medicine for deep scalp itch.
We're looking at Mike Aulby, our tournament leader, in other words, the top seed. 4th frame, he made a 7-pin spare. We've been trying to get a reading on the capacity crowd here, how it's divided. Cheering for these brother-in-laws. Can't get a reading, really.
I agree with you, Chris. I think one of the most knowledgeable crowds is you see Cook leaning back to get that weight over his knees. Very important for a big man. But I think their knowledge has sedated their enthusiasm.
All right. Now, strikes like that, noisemakers, will help. And for Cook, that was a strike in the 5th frame of this championship game. He can take a 2-pin lead if he can bomb one on the left lane now. 275. That's his weight. He'd like that for a score.
Well, that's gone by the wayside. He has a potential 260, which may not be enough if Aulby can put it together. There's only 8 pins difference between the two brother-in-laws. 6th frame.
Say thank you.
A nationally ranked junior archer, you watch how Steve Cook shoots a dart and feathers out the 6 and 8. Three pin goes to sideboard, catches the back of the 6, trips out the 8. And he's got to like it.
Mike Aulby trying to take the 2-pin lead away. He's a 2-4.
Mike Aulby a little bit high on that shot, and I was talking with him before he went out to bowl. His son Christopher and wife Tammy are in the nursery area, and his son Christopher is bowling in the nursery area. I don't think he's quite aware that his father's out here trying to make $21,000. 5 frames left to decide if his daddy's going to win or his uncle.
Either way, they're both going to have a successful week. 21 and 11. Mike Aulby, a perennial winner until lately. We ask, where has his consistency gone?
Well, the main thing for me is the last couple of years. Mentally, I've been up and down. You struggle with your confidence a bit. Even though you've had big years in the past, sometimes you get in lulls where you don't quite have the confidence in the way you throw the ball. couple weeks ago, I worked on some things. They made some things click for me. I've worked real hard mentally, and now the physical part's starting to come back.
Mike Aulby leaving a 4-pin. Man that 2 weeks ago, on his wife's Tammy's birthday, was inducted into the Indiana Bowling Hall of Fame.
And now he needs to get into the Indianapolis Hall of Fame, I guess.
I think he's qualified.
You bet. The perspiration of Steve Cook, the bigger of the two men. Aulby, 7th frame, needs his spare. He will trail by 3.
Mike's last title in 1990. Mike today trying to become 3-time winner of the Cleveland Open.
Cook, double working, can make his lead. 13, 7th frame.
Two great national doubles champions, Steve Cook and Mike Aulby, winning it 3 times, are head-to-head in a singles battle.
Look at the line of Steve Cook. Just a powerful, confident ball right down here in the 1-2 pocket. And Katie barred the door. Watch this shot. Just see ya. Cook looks too sharp. And you know what? Aulby recognizes how well Steve Cook is bowling, and it has to have him on a downer, too. There is a mental game going out there. And if Steve Cook puts this one in the pocket and strikes, I think Aulby's on the ropes. 8th frame. Trouble. 310 baby split. Pretty easy for Steve Cook with that big hook ball. He's cutting across the 3-pin and into the 10. And for a lefty, that's especially with Cook's big hook. All he has to do is get the ball anywhere in this zone, and it'll clear out the 3 and 10s. If he doesn't make it, he would fall behind Mike Aulby.
Textbook. Bo, today we're being seen live for the first time on our winter tour, Channel 6 in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, that's great, and I hope that, and I know that Channel 2 in St. Louis is also picking up the telecast, as we were preempted by some Billiken basketball earlier in the year, but the fans, I'm sure, are glad to have us back on.
Oh, no.
The 4, 6, 7, 10. Big tonk, big 4, whatever you want, but watch Aulby go out wide, and then he goes right through the heart. Look at this. This could be the change in the whole match. All Mike can hope for is to get 2 of the pins.
And he carefully goes for the pair. You would not wish that on your own brother-in-law.
That's for sure. I'm sure the money's all going in the same bank. As you can see, a split conversion for Cook in the 8th and a split miss that by no diagonal mark through the circle in the 8th for Aulby. Now Aulby has a chance for 211. The face of Steve Cook, he knows he has a 27-pin lead. 9th frame.
Well, you mentioned earlier that their head-to-head competition, Aulby's won 2, and Steve won. The last time was at the PBA National in Toledo. Aulby winning at 253 to 211. We're back there next week.
And Cook, one of the men of 3 men who can get the Triple Crown by winning next week.
And, of course, Mike later on has a chance for that triple, but with the Firestone he's yet to win.
Our 3 Triple Crown events coming up in the next 5 weeks. National, U.S. Open, and Firestone. Now Cook with a commanding lead, 9th frame, going at a 2:18 pace.
Six-pin for Steve Cook.
Pretty good shot. Remember, he tripped out the 6-8 and a crucial point in the match right there in the 7th frame. So So once again here in the 9th with a spare, let's project for Steve Cook. All he would need is a good count in the 10th to lock up the title. The best Aulby can do is 201.
Steve's first victory, Alameda, 79. The numbers on the screen, Bo. Timing their start.
Well, they have 25 seconds from the time the ball comes back on the ball return. Steve Cook obviously down in the single digits there, but right now he's 6th, this official score. What he needs to lock up the championship is 8 pins on the first ball. Any kind of mark, and it's over. 8 pins, the worst he could do is 203. Aulby, he knows he's in trouble, could possibly shoot 201, but I think it's going to be over after this shot.
Okay, he'll take it. He was really rooting. That's a neat rivalry between these two great professionals. And it continues 2-2 now in 4 matches. Okay, we'll be back, but first let's go to our colleague, Frank Gifford.
Thank you, Chris. And coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, we'll return to Oslo, Norway for the World Challenge of Champions, featuring special performances by world and Olympic champions. We'll have the men's all-around competition from the World Gymnastics Championships, and we'll preview the start of the World League coming up tomorrow on ABC. Plus, with the explosion of sexual assault charges against athletes as a backdrop, we'll visit East Jersey State Prison to talk with a promising boxer who ended up behind bars. We'll be back with Chris Schenkel right after this.
If potato chips are gonna cross your lips, keep them fresh, make them fine all the time. That's Pringles, not the Pringles. Not like chips in a bag, they don't stay fresh. It's a drag. Candles bagged with buster pieces, get your hands full of greases. We've got whole crunchy chips, clean and crispy to your lips. Pringles, pop the Pringles. Go for fresh because Pringles got them. Fresh, pop right to the bottom. Once you pop, you can't stop.
ABC Sports and Nutmeg Mills have come together to create ABC Sportswear. ABC Sportswear by Nutmeg. Now for the real sports fan, the best is here.
Dear Thompson's, I swear by Thompson's Water Seal. But recently, when it ran out, my son finished with another brand. Then it rained. What a difference. Thompson's beat it up, the other brand nothing. Thanks for a product you can believe in. Marvin Snoddy, Locust Grove, Virginia.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Skin Bracer Aftershave. Its cool, brisk tingle really gets you going. And what a great scent. Skin Bracer.
No better way to face the day. Find better.
The checks have been written in this fashion. Steve Cook, the winner, his 15th title, 21. Aulby and throwing down the line. 214 for the winner. Mike Aulby, 201. P. Michael Cottrell, president of Yorktown Lanes, has a check for $21,000 and an Eagle Trophy as Tammy and Kristen share in the glory of Steve Cook. See you next week, PBA National Toledo.
The Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Kellogg's, proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team. By Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. And by Calcium-Rich Tums. Tums helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium.